Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. We've been at the farmer's market of Daily Dose Radio all this week, and we've seen plowers, and we've talked about fruit, and we've talked about hay yesterday, and today we're going to talk about mowers. Mowers who are wanting to fill their hand and bosom with something that isn't really there. So if you join me today, we're going to be looking at 7 and 8, verses 7 and 8 of Psalm 129. If you have your Bible, why don't you turn there with me? And let's read together verses 7 and 8. Wherewith the mower filleth not his hand, nor he that bindeth sheaves his bosom. Neither do they which go by say, The blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. So we have two verses here, 7 and 8. And again, the metaphor continues. Yesterday in verse 6, those who hate Zion were like, or as, the grass upon the housetops, which grows up and looks impressive at the beginning, but then withers because there's no depth of earth, there's little soil, and the moisture quickly runs away. So it's withering before it even grows up. And then we continue that today in verse 7, wherewith the mower filleth not his hand. So as I said yesterday, nobody plants in the gutter. You're not going to get a harvest out of your gutters. The place for the harvest is the field, the place where there's a depth of earth, where there's tending and tilling, and where there's rain and moisture that keeps the plants growing and producing, because that's what mowers are there for. They're to cut the product so they can take it from the field. So the mower is looking to fill his hand, and he that binds sheaves coming in behind him wants to fill his bosom so that he can bind the sheaves. He gathers up into a large round cylinder until he has enough, and then he can tie it together into a sheaf. That's what's going on here. There's not going to be anything in the binding of the sheaves that comes out of the gutter. It's just not going to happen. And then we have this blessing here in verse 8. Neither do they which go by say, The blessing of the Lord be upon you. Okay? There seems to be a tradition in Israel, and it was a blessing for those who reap. And we find it in Ruth chapter 2. Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. So there's a passerby, in this case it's Boaz, and he sees the reapers in his field, and he says to the reapers in his field, The Lord be with you. So it's a beautiful blessing because they're doing a work of gathering in the harvest. But the mowers who are mowing, they're not mowing and gathering in from the gutter the withered grain. No, there's no blessing for that. Those who pass by and see the reapers, they're not going to say, The blessing of the Lord be upon you. And who is that passing by the way? Well, remember, this is an ascent psalm. So we're ascending to Jerusalem. We're ascending up to Zion. So we're looking forward to that. We're the ones that are passing by. We're the ones that are headed to the heavenly Jerusalem. We're the ones that are headed to the heavenly Zion. And so there's no blessing on the withered grass. There's no blessing for the reapers who are trying to gather withered grass. And so those passing by just completely have nothing but scorn and silence for those trying to reap withered grass. There's no blessing coming, and there's no blessing going. The blessing of the Lord be upon you, it's not stated. We bless you in the name of the Lord, it's not stated. Why? Because there's no blessing for grass that doesn't produce. You have the passerby, you have the reaper, and you have the grass. And the grass that's growing in the field that's producing is the grass that's being gathered. That's where the blessing is. It's not those who hate Zion. It's not those who are the wicked. It's not those who are plowing the long furrows. It's not those who are afflicting the church. Join me next week. We're going to look at Psalm 130 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.